What's up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by Indie Dave Comics YouTube channel. Of course, I'm Indie Dave. Doing an actual review. I just did a couple of kind of nostalgic, rambling reviews, but we're going to get to an actual comic review today. We'll be reviewing Pumpkinhead. If you've seen the movie, and this is pretty, it's pretty loyal to the movie lore. And if you haven't seen the movie, this is a good jumping on point for the story. It adds a little bit of the background, a little bit extra to the lore. It was written by Cullen Bunn, drawn by Blackie Shepard, and colored by Kyle Strom. The basic story, if you're not familiar with it, is that Pumpkinhead is a revenge demon. And what you would do is, if you've been seriously wronged, and you thought it was necessary to get deadly revenge, you would go to the local witch, and she would summon the demon Pumpkinhead who would not stop until the revenge was completed. There are, of course, consequences for the person who had the demon summoned, but this adds a little bit to the lore. It starts off a long time ago. This witch has apparently been training other younger witches, and it's time for them to go out and choose their demon. There's a little story at the end I'll go into when I'm done. But basically they have to go out and they have to find the grave, and whatever grave kind of calls to each individual, that demon would be their demon to basically control or keep track of. The art's really nice. It's a really nice kind of detailed. It's a horror story, so it has that kind of look. You know, you've got the fog, and they did that all really nice, and this really sets the tone. It sets the tone of the story. Let's see. So all the witches go out, and apparently some are nicer than others, pushing them out of the way, kind of bullying the other one. And this one, her name's Haggis. She finds the one demon that kind of calls to her, the grave that calls to her. The grave's on kind of a high cliff, and lo and behold, there's pumpkins growing near it. So you know what that's all about. The basic story was there was a car accident. It crashed into a wagon. It's a community full of hillbillies. They're not overly fond of the local sheriff. Here's your local sheriff. They don't really like authority figures. It's kind of that kind of backwoods community sort of deal, which is the kind of community that would, you know, go to a witch to summon a demon. We find out the one guy in the jail, he knows what's going on, and they're talking about investigating the accident and how difficult it is to investigate because nobody wants to talk to him. He knows what's going on, and he knows what's going to happen. The old drunk in the jail, because he's been around and he's seen it before. We find out, I'm going to skip a few pages, we find out basically that it's some kind of organized crime, meth factory kind of deal, and it was one of those drug dealers that smashed into the wagon. So the father brings the two dead kids to the witch, who is expecting them, and she's going to do her thing. They're going to summon the demon. The sheriff tries to talk to some of the kids that were involved with the crash. They've been told not to talk. What we know... Well, let's get some... Oh, that looks cool. Looks like they're going to do a Jeepers Creepers comic. Hate to interrupt, but that actually looks kind of cool. Dynamite's been putting out some decent stuff lately. Anyway, back to the story. So the sheriff tries to talk to some of the local kids that were involved. This girl was obviously in the accident and survived. But their dad tells them not to talk to the cops. They're going to deal with it themselves. So what we got is this kind of organized drug dealer guy who's just waiting around to be picked up so the cops don't get him. But he's waiting around with someone else who knows what's going on. Here we have the guys protecting him. They're going to hear the noise in the dark. And I'm going to end that particular part right here because I think you all know what's going to happen here. There's no mystery about it's a horror movie. It's a horror comic. If you've seen it, you know they summon the demon. I'm not really giving away any spoilers here. But they do add... I think the majority of the plot's going to be how they deal with the demon. If you've seen the movies, you know the kind of consequence to the guy that calls for the summoning of the demon. So the main plot for the next few series, which I'm going to pick up, is this was actually really good, especially if you like horror comics. The main plot's going to be in how they stop the demon, who is supposedly unstoppable. Now, they do these extra little stories. Cullen Bunn did this one as well. It's kind of little backstory things about the other kind of demons. Pumpkinhead is the revenge demon. And all of these other witches picked other demons. This particular short story is about gluttony. She picked the gluttony demon. Or the gluttony demon picked her. And... like everything else, you can't really control a demon, and it goes overboard, and instead of eating who she wanted it to eat, it just ate everybody. And that's kind of the theme of the story. That's kind of the basic plot of these Pumpkinhead movies. And a lot of different things. The message is when you summon a demon, you can't really control it. If you look in this kind of little backstory, the art's a little bit sketchier, and it's kind of because it's more flashback. It's just giving you kind of a basic. I imagine in the next few issues they're going to have whatever the other demons are. Like I said, this one was gluttony. It just completely escapes me what the other ones are going to be. But you're going to get a little short story about how each demon has its consequences before you find what the consequences to summoning a Pumpkinhead is. So if you liked the horror movie Pumpkinhead, or horror monsters are your thing, this is a pretty good one to jump in on. Again, with each Pumpkinhead story, you don't have to know the last one, so it's not like a series where you have to catch up on it. This one's pretty good. I'm going to be picking up this series. I'm not generally a horror guy, but I like this one. I like the Pumpkinhead movies. So, thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. I'm Indie Dave, and y'all have a good day.
Please hang up and try again.